Hello and welcome to a Celtic State of Mind. It is the halftime analysis for Celtic v Morton in the Scottish Cup. Lawrence, I'll come to you first. A pretty nervy opening 10 minutes. Nervy is maybe a bit of an exaggeration of a word, but Morton had a couple of good chances. We were looking a little bit scrappy. Were you worried in that opening part of the game that things might not go our way today?
Not worried that we wouldn't win, but certainly I was worried at how slack we appeared to be and the fact that Morton were getting chances. I don't even think we've got out of first gear. I can't believe we're 4-0 out. We're now out of first gear, and that decision, it's just not. Number one, it takes 2 minutes for the ref to go decide he needs to look at the monitor. What's going on for 2 minutes? And how it's a penalty, I just don't know. Morton's got to be... They must be raging because you were in the game, they were creating chances, and then to get a penalty against them for
that. We'll move on to the penalty decision because I think that's probably what we've got most to talk about. Jared, before I ask you about it, Stephen Sloan says that was never a penalty. If Morton had got that, we would be fuming with the ref. Autumn Glow says disgraceful penalty decision. Stephen J says that penalty was soft as they come, more like a Rangers penalty. Listen, I think as Celtic supporters, we try to be nothing but fair in these situations. Jared, I'll come to you first. If you're Morton in that situation, it's 0-0. You've not had the worst start to the game. A decision like that goes against you when you need anything to go in your favour. I mean, it wasn't a great decision from the ref, was it? And the way he came to it as well.
It's a momentum killer for Morton. Let's be honest. They were playing well at that point. It's probably as well as they could expect to play against us, all things considered. They've had a few chances. We've created a few chances. And then I was sitting here when we were watching the game, and it was 2 minutes. I actually wrote down from when, when that happened and he blew his whistle to when he actually started running over to do the review. It was 2 minutes gone there. Sorry, 90 seconds actually before he ran over. By the time he pointed, it was 2 minutes. And then you take another minute for the penalty and everything like that. And it's just like absolute momentum killer. There goes 2-3 minutes. A bad decision against Morton. I didn't celebrate us scoring that goal. To me, that's a rubbish penalty. I don't think it was a penalty. Like, it's a terrible decision.
Yeah. John Toll says if he's still an accident waiting to happen. I don't know if that's in specific reference to the penalty decision, but Lawrence, the three of us were sitting on the live stream watching it individually and talking while we were watching it, and not one of the three of us thought that was a good decision. Either the way that the ref took so much time to come to it or the outcome of the decision. I mean, listen, if we're going to complain about VAR going against us so much, we've got to call it out when it happens to other teams as well. It's the system that is wrong, isn't it?
Well, no, I mean, the system, the technology, it captures what happens. How the video assistant ref and the ref have decided a penalty is completely different. It's just never a pen, is it? It's just what they've seen in it. Why it's taken 2 minutes before they've decided the ref needs to look at that. Well, it's deflected up on his hand from an Armagh player. It's just a penalty. There is absolutely nothing in it. You look at that and go, right, not a penalty. How they obtain 2 minutes to decide, the ref needs to look at this, and what the ref's seen is just like, it's ridiculous. But we get a decision in a home game against Morton, we're going to win anyway. It's just crazy. Absolutely killed the game. It's ruined it. And we're not out of first gear. Morton were in the game. They were creating a few chances, and to get something like that against them is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
As we said, sorry, Laura, I'll just jump in there. As we said during the game, though, Ambrose is making a tackle. He's put a foot in. He's got his hand down for balance in a natural position. Yes, it's away from his body, but it's down in a natural position. He's not making himself bigger. He's not moving his hand towards the ball. It ricochets off his teammate's foot into his arm, not his hand, just his arm, and then goes away. I don't get it. Like, we can talk about VAR all we want, but that's just bad refereeing in general. Like, VAR, the principle of it and how it's supposed to work and the setup and everything is a good thing in general. We have it over here. It works if the people using it are competent. They're not. That's the issue.
It's it's funny because when VAR was introduced, or when the idea of VAR was discussed, I remember it being the advantage of it being that it would take away a lot of the debate around decisions. And if anything, although it's maybe not taking the debate away around most decisions and the correctness of those decisions, it's creating debate in and of itself just because of the way it's been used. The last couple of comments I'll bring up here. Scottish refs not fit for purpose, says Patrick Harold. Embarrassing. That touches on what you were saying, Jared. And Matthew Fay says, yeah, that's the kind of penalty if it was awarded to an opponent against us, I'd be raging. Matthew Fay.
I'm raging that it was awarded to us. Like,
Yeah.
VAR is supposed to, 4 words is the thing for VAR. Clear and obvious error. That's what it's about. That's at the end of the day. How it's being applied is not looking for clear and obvious errors. That wasn't a clear and obvious error.
No,
Like,
nobody. I don't think anybody would have said, "Oh, that should have gone to VAR" if play had just gone on. So yeah. But we'll move on to the rest of the first half. And Lawrence, I'll come to you on this one. Strangelove the Doctor says, I wouldn't have awarded the penalty, but other than that, pretty good control here. I'm just enjoying the Celtic general performance. Kyogo's instinct is on another level. Kyogo's got 2 goals. We were talking about it during the game. He's just got that knack, hasn't he, of being sometimes very quiet during the game, not having a lot of impact, but he's always there and always a goal threat as long as he's on the pitch.
Yeah, no, as many goals as games now, isn't it? So, phenomenal return in terms of goals, but you do feel that in a lot of games it could be doing more, but you keep up that scoring record, very you argue. If you don't do particularly much that first half, but you walk off with a couple of goals. As a team, I don't think it's been a great performance. I think they've been kind of slack.
Mm-hmm.
But they're 4-0 up when we're not at our first gear. It's just crazy to look at that way, because I thought Morton have had a couple of really decent chances. Probably should have a goal shoot at the penalty against them. And yeah, for us to be 4 up after that, which I don't think it's been a great performance. I think we've been a bit pedestrian. But then again, I suppose when you get a couple of goals up, maybe you don't have that impetus to you're not trying to force the goal. You don't have to chase after the game. It's just cruise control now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Get both the wall on for the second half. Get a Wata on for the second half. Just give them 45 minutes.
I would certainly like to see a couple of those changes. One of the players that I think has stood out for me, Jared, and we were talking a little bit about him during that first half, is Aaron Moy. He seems to be getting a lot of space and a lot of freedom in that midfield. And as I was saying to you, for a guy who's not pacey in any way, he's very mobile and does get about the pitch, perhaps because he's a relatively intelligent footballer. He doesn't need pace as much as quickness of thought, as cliched as that is. How do you see his role having changed, especially since the confidence boost he's had at the World Cup, playing for Australia the way that he did?
I think it's more to do with, like we said on our pod when he was linked with us, and originally that if we signed him on a free, he's basically the equivalent of signing a £5-6 million player. Once he gets fit and gets a run of games, and he's starting to show that. So, as we were saying when the game was on, Laura, it's like if you get him in a 10-15 meter sprint, he's slow. But if you get him over 2 or 3 steps one way, 2 or 3 steps to another, just positioning, closing down the ball, the press, that sort of thing, it works for him. And then he reads the play, reads where, okay, ball's over on the right wing. I need to position myself here so I can receive a pass, and there's room there, and he knows what he's got to do. So he's always thinking 2 or 3 moves ahead. So, yeah, he's playing really well. But I think the World Cup was good for him because other guys had a break. He got fit with us to go to the World Cup, and now he's come back fit, and he's hitting the ground running.
Yeah, it's really good to see, and I for one am enjoying it. Lawrence, I know. Again, without doing disrespect to the opposition, the caliber of the opposition isn't great, but you see a situation like today where Moy can take control of a game and can dictate the play. He's almost playing like kind of a number 10, I would say, maybe a number 8, but that's my own opinion on it. What have you made of his performance today and since he's come back from the World Cup?
Listen, I think he's upped his game since he came back from the World Cup. I mean, today I honestly don't think teams at first gear. Yeah, he's been all right, but a lot of it probably is the calibre player he's up against. Back to a cruising as well. Once you're 2 up, it's kind of Morton's heads have to be down now, so he's maybe got a wee bit more time than he would if it was still tight. But I remember being down at Peter Scarf Club for Chris Sutton night, and Chris made a point at Jared. He's a £6 million player we got for nothing. The guy's a quality player. He's certainly. You're expecting him to start more often than not now, aren't you? For somebody that when he came in, you thought he's maybe just going to be a squad player. He's definite kind of first team starter now. So
yeah.
I think it's a class signing for us.
Joseph McGonigal says he's a roamer and it's effective. He certainly is roaming about the pitch, and it is good to see. We'll move on to the goal I want to talk about, basically. Laura will be happy with Turnbull's goal, Patrick James Simpson says. Lawrence, I'll come back to you on Turnbull first. I said it while we were watching the game. That's 2 goals in 2 games for him at least. Is there anything about his performance that suggests that he's maybe going to be knocking on Ange's door saying, you need to give me more of an opportunity here? Or is it, as we said before the game, he's going to remain a squad player until such time as he perhaps moves on?
Listen, lovely goal. I don't think he's done enough to start, but then again, I'm looking at a lot of the players against Morton today. Have any of them really put down a marker that saying that I should be starting? I don't think so. I don't think Turnbull's done it. It was a nice goal, nice finish, but he's not to take the play, is he? Like Moyes, he's not stamping his authority in the game, which I think he needs to do if he wants to become a starter. But 2 goals in 2 games, you're happy enough with his return, but I just don't think he gives us enough.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see. Listen, we can't complain about fringe players coming in and doing the job that Turnbull's doing. It's just a question of whether he is better than what we've got as first choice. He's maybe not. Where do you stand on that, Jared? Turnbull got a case to make there, or is it just a case of he's coming in, being a professional, doing a job, and that's it?
I think it's as we said before, it's a squad game, and you look at our midfield dynamic. O'Reilly hasn't been in great form recently, so that's opened up a chance for Turnbull to start to get on the pitch a bit more regularly, and banging a few goals in isn't gonna hurt him at all, hurt his cause. So, I don't mind him getting out there. It's just as we said pre-game, it's just a matter of how's he going to fit within the way we play, because he tends to be that 1 or 2 touches to do that turn that people are saying. But for his goal, one thing I want to say, the biggest travesty of the whole thing is the ball to Abada, all the running Abada did, and you look at the stats, and Kyogo gets the assist. I'm like, you'd feel ripped off if you're Abada.
I know.
Actually, Abada's probably, I said nobody's making a case to start. Maybe Abada. He's been good today.
Yeah, I think Abada's one thing I'm certain about Abada is he's desperate for a goal by the looks of it as well, and he's trying his best to get one. I hope he gets a little bit more of a run out in the second half. But with that said, we'll give you a chance to go and make your cups of tea, do whatever you need to do, visit the washroom, as they say in some parts of the world, before the second half starts, if it hasn't already, because I can never keep track of these things. Just a wee word from Jamie Young. Never happy, God's sake, Acsom. We're happy you're watching, Jamie. That's one thing we can rejoice in.
I'm happy it's 4-0, but really disappointed with that penalty. Come on, that's just ruining the game, isn't it? Yeah. What Scottish refs do? And this is after the fact of something to discuss how they're badly getting it wrong. This is the supposed improved after the summit.
Yeah, fair's fair. You've got to call it out when you see it, whether it's for your team or another team. But
Wada's on, is it?
Oh, looks like it.
Pax is on. Haksabanovic is on. Looks like Awada's on. There we go. A few changes.
Excellent. Well, that being said, we will leave you to go and take in the debut of Iwata. Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you, Jared, for joining me, and we will see you again at full time.